G'day, my name's Dan, and we're going to start a short video series on using the Ruleset Wizard development environment for Fantasy Grounds by Psicodelix. There's a lot of power in it already, and it's up to its 9th build version, and a 10th is going to drop pretty soon. So we're going to start off with this. So to get this tool, and I really recommend you do if you've got any interest in this at all, it will teach you a fair bit. You can hack into the code afterwards, you can see what it's doing, but certainly it'll make a lot of things a lot easier for you. And in combination with this video, hopefully you'll learn a few tips and tricks, and you will be able to start making your own really usable extensions and basic rule sets for Fantasy Grounds. Firstly, go off to rulesetwizard.com, and the cost is €50 for this early access product. There may be a few .NET dependencies to install when you install this product, but once you've got it up and running, you will go and create a new project. So we're going to click up here for create new rule set. I'm going to call this one Cyberpunk RED, and we're going to change it to a rule set, and we're going to leave it at that for the moment. And we will save this before we go any further. So we're going to save this to a folder here. I've created a folder called Cyberpunk RED, and we're just going to save it here, and it's going to be called cyberpunkred.rwp. Okay, so we have our project base started. So first thing we'll do is we'll create some folders that will mirror the core RPG system. Now, of course, I'm a little bit more familiar with some of these things than some of you will be. So what you would do is you'd crack open the core RPG rule set. Core RPG rule set .pack file is just a zip file, so you crack open core RPG.pack, you unpack that to somewhere where you can view it and get familiar with the files in there. And we're just going to create a couple of folders here to get started. And we're going to create, so campaign is where our character sheet and NPC sheets will live, and a few other items. And graphics is where we'll store our graphic assets. And we've got a couple of types. So we've got frames and icons. There'll be some others afterwards as well, maybe fonts. For the moment, we're just going to do frames and icons. Now, I've just flipped over to a graphics frames folder that I prepared earlier. I've created a few graphics in advance for this. And once again, my familiarity with the rule sets and things like that has allowed me to build this a little bit quicker than it might you on your first time, but these things will improve in speed as you go along. So I've got some boxes here which will be used for numbers, same with field light and field black, and there should be a red one here as well, grey one. So we've got a couple of frames here for character sheets and record sheets and chat boxes. So we'll see how these get used shortly. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a frame for the character sheet. So we're going to go across here to add new frame, and we're going to call the frame the same as what is called in Core RPG, which is car sheet. I'm going to browse to the files, and we've got graphics, frames, carsheet.png, and the frame offset. I'll show you what this means in a moment. Now, for the moment, we're going to use 50-50-50, and I'll open up this file and show you what that actually means. So GIMP is my editor of preference, and that's not because it's better or worse than anything else, it's just what I'm familiar with. So I've created a image here of size 500 by 500 pixels, and we've got a frame around here. We can see there's a little bit of transparent space along the top and the corners. It's just style. I borrowed some styling cues from the rule set book itself, and we can see here the right hand side. So I'll just confirm, we've got our sheet here, and that's what it looks like. Now, the offset means that we've taken it 50 pixels in from the left, 50 pixels in from the top, 50 pixels in from the right, and 50 pixels in from the bottom. That's how we create our 9 slices. So this 50 by 50 corner will always be in the top left, and this 50 by 50 corner will always be in the top right. this section up here will always remain at the top, and that will stretch. Sorry, it won't stretch, it will tile. And the same, we've got a side section here that will tile vertically. We have a middle section, and that will tile horizontally and vertically. We have our bottom left hand corner and our bottom right hand corner. So going back into here, that's our frame defined for the character sheet. The next thing I'm going to do is in our campaign folder is we're going to create a window, and our window is going to be called car sheet main. So we go across here to our properties, and we call this car sheet main, and again I'm using the core RPG values for these, and it will help integrate it into the existing core RPG rule set or layer it over the top. I'm setting the height and width to 700, and I'm also going to set the minimum height and the minimum width to 700. Now these are initial values, they may change later on once we understand better how our rule set, how our page is going to look. If we save that for the moment, so we hit save here, it's going to save that, and then we're also going to generate the rule set an extension. So when we hit this, it's going to just default to the last file location we used, but we're going to save it here as the Cyberpunk RED rule set. I'm going to create a new Fantasy Grounds campaign called Cyberpunk RED, CP RED, and it's going to use the Cyberpunk RED rule set that we're just creating just now. So we'll just load it on the LAN, and we'll start that up. And you can see our default core RPG system here. We'll go to characters, create a new character, and straight away we can see our frame is now used on the outside of this, and it's not immediately obvious, but this is also 700 pixels by 700 pixels. If we try and resize this, we can see that it can go bigger, it can go wider, taller, but it can't go any smaller because we set the minimum width and minimum height to 700 pixels. We'll give our character a name and a token, a portrait. This one looks appropriate. So what we'll also do is we're going to save that character down here onto one of our hotkey slots, and we're also going to set up /reload and save that down here to F1 key. It means every time we need to reload the rule set to see the changes, that we can hit reload, and it's a lot quicker a way to get around. We can also, we don't need this to show each time, and when we want to fire up our character, we can go straight into it that way. So we've also got a PDF Cyberpunk RED character sheet here, and it takes some massaging to try and work out what's going to go onto what page on your character sheet, but probably what we're going to do is put all the skills onto a separate tab. There are a lot of skills in Cyberpunk RED, and they may not even fit on a single page on a Fantasy Grounds character sheet, just because of the way those sheets are laid out. But what we do want to do is we want to have our stats. So we've got intelligence, reflex, dexterity, etc. And we want to take these and put them onto our character sheet to start with. And so we're going to find things like our name, our character's name, their role ability in the top section up here of our character sheet. May not, some of them may go elsewhere, but that's what I'm thinking at the moment, is that they'll go up the top section. For the moment, we're going to be working in this section of our character sheet, which is the main. So what we're going to want to do is get these attributes, and rather than doing them vertically as they're done here, I think we're going to build them across horizontally. Set up the fields for this. So So we're going to use the red and white one that I've created earlier as our attribute field, and we're going to call that one field dark. We can see here we've got a number of frames that look quite similar to each other. We've got field black, field light, and field number field grey. So we're going to use those to set up some new. So we'll go across back to frames, and we're going to create one called field dark and field light. I haven't just made these names up. These are names that are used in Core RPG. So we're going to use field dark. We're going to use the number field, and the offsets here will be 8, 8, 4, 4. Again, so 8 pixels in from the left, 8 pixels in from the top, 4 from the right and from the bottom. And we'll create another one called field light. And we'll create one called field black, which doesn't exist in Core RPG, but we'll be using this, I'm pretty sure, as well. So we're going to go back to car sheet main, and we can see it here, it's our 700 by 700, and we're going to add a label to start with. Put it around here. We go with about now this is going to again take some trial and error. I'm going to make it 35. Now do not expect to get these right the very first time you do them in terms of positioning. So intelligence, center the text. We want to set the font to be, we're going to use reference B, which is just a standard font, but it's the bold variant, so a little bit darker, a little bit more easy to see. And we're going to give it a name. Now, really important to give these, when you're naming stuff, to pick a naming convention and stick to it. Alright, so all of our labels will be underscore label. Alright, so we've got a label. And then we want a number field. Now we can see the default size is quite a bit bigger than what we're going to be using on this sheet, primarily because we need to fit a lot of information onto this sheet. You can see I'm typing in numbers here, but you can nudge them along and set them using the GUI. Click on it and you can move things by pixel when you do that. So again, we're going to give this a standard numbering scheme, a naming scheme. We're going to call it current. Right? Sometimes some of these values change. Now this one doesn't generally change throughout the course of the game, but ones like body and luck do. So they'll have a current and a max value. So we want to just for consistency, we're going to keep the same naming structure. Now we can see here it's a field dark. We've got our positioning, and that's it for the moment. So if we have a look at that, we're going to push that out to our rule sets folder, save that, and then when I reload this using the F1 key to do it faster, then F6 still launches the character sheet. We can see we've got an int field, and we've got our nice thematic frame, and there's a value of 0 in there, and that's looking pretty close to what we want it to look like. Here is something nice. Now you have to, when you do what I'm going to do now, which is select multiple things, you have to start dragging from outside the frame. But I can go in there and collect the int frame, and I can use the copy. Alright, and it's made a duplicate of both of those fields. Now, we'll click on, it only selects one of them actively, so we'll select them both, and we'll move them up so they're lined up with the other. I'm going to just put a small space in between them, like that, just for the moment. Let's see that spacing. Yep, so it's across 95, perfect. That will do for the moment, but we will need to change these. So the next one is going to be called ref, and we want to call it ref label, and we want to call this one ref current. And again, we can push this, we can publish this. We can reload the rule set. Load it up, and we've got now int and ref, and we can see that these are all lined up perfectly, and there's a reasonable gap between them. That formatting looks pretty good to me. So this time what we'll do, go off the page, we'll grab both of them, and when we copy it, we now get 4 copies. We'll select the extra. So we get 2 copies, sorry, 4 elements. Line it up vertically. Get them pretty close to where they're supposed to be. Now, 137, this should be 135. So I'm going to select those again and just nudge them over 2 pixels, and they will be lined up right. Now the gap between each of these should be correct, should be uniform. So then we've got dex, keeping that naming convention consistent. Okay, so I have messed up there. I've got ref in there twice. I've also haven't changed the labels. So you can see this warning here, column, window name, control name is constrained to be unique. Ref label, of course, ref is not correct. These should be dex and tech. So I've got dex, and this one should be tech, which means that this should be tech label, and the bottom field should be tech current. You will make, if you're anything like me, lots of these simple errors. Okay, so now we've got cool and will. We'll quickly duplicate those again. Now it's possible that I accidentally moved these a little out of sync. So we'll check this position, 216 is 1 pixel out. Yeah, okay, so we'll select those again, move them over 1 pixel, and check the, yep, they look good. Okay, so now we've got dex needs to become cool. So this is the text that's displayed. Okay, let's have a quick peek at what that looks like. We'll publish it. We'll reload the table. F6 to open the character sheet. Yeah, that's looking good. So you can see that starting to really fill out as you get more elements on there. It'll have that nice compact look from the actual character sheet. Now, next fields are going to be a little bit different. So we just duplicate these two again. Line them up vertically. And move them over so the spacing is correct or close to correct. Confirm that that's correct. Okay, it's 96, so it's over 1 pixel. Move them back. Now we're also going to move these ones an extra 5 pixels because we have to make this next one longer. So instead of being 35 wide, this one's going to be 45 wide. We might find these two need to go over another 5. This one is going to shrink a little bit in width. Instead of being 35, it's going to be 25. And we're going to duplicate it. We're going to vertically align it. Going to space it out. And we're going to have to move these ones again. Okay, we'll try that for the moment. Except we're going to change this one to, instead of filled dark, we're going to make this one filled light. Okay, this label is going to go from cool. We'll have to move this one over a little bit. Instead of being cool, this one's going to be luck. So it's going to become luck label. And we've got luck current, so we keep the red boxes as the current values, and the other ones that you'll primarily be working from. And then we've also got a luck max field. Okay, and this extra field here is move. Do the same thing. Alright, let's check how that looks. We'll reload the rule set again. Load up the character sheet. It's looking pretty good. So we've got most of our attributes here, and we've got luck. We've got 2 values. We've got current and max. Now we've still got 2 more value fields to do here. Now in this case, we need to copy another field that looks like the double and a single. So what we'll do is we're going to come in off the page here and grab them like that. So we've got a single field and then a double field in that order. We'll create the copy. Okay, they just moved. That happens sometimes with this. It's quite touchy. Just going to nuke them. We'll do it again. Copy them. And then we'll vertically align them. Move them horizontally till we're 5 pixels past the last one, and we'll just confirm that this one starts on a 2 and this one starts on a 3, so we need to move these ones over 1 more pixel back. Alright, we'll quickly finish the labeling off on these. Move label, and move current. Everything has to have a unique name. Luck label, not luck. This one is body. Again, we've got a current and a max value. Okay, so those fields are all done. We'll quickly save this. Okay, we've got a main move label. Okay, yeah, alright, I haven't fixed this one up. Okay, sorry, I did that incorrectly. This should have been body. And the last one should be EMP. Okay, let's save that again. Great. Let's publish it. Let's reload the table. And excellent. So we've got all our values now there, all of those stats or attributes are now there. We're just going to add something else in here, just a decorative feature. So the first thing that we're going to do is create an icon. Okay, add new icon. We'll call it icon stats. Give it a, here we go, stats PNG. Okay, and that's now been defined. So we can now, you can see it over here, we can now use it here. So we'll grab an icon image, drag it over here. Let's position this. So we're going to bring it in a couple of pixels from the edge. And we'll try it at 80. I think it's going to have to come down. Okay, now the height of this object, and the height of that is actually a 50 pixels and it's 40 pixels wide. So we'll push it back up higher so it aligns roughly with what we've got there. There's going to be a little bit of trial and error here. I'm going to give it a name, stats icon. Okay, and let's see what that looks like. I think this alignment's going to be slightly out. Okay, that didn't quite work. Why not? Let's check out what we've missed. Okay, quite obviously, we didn't actually define what graphic file to use here, so we've got the icon stats, and that'll appear in there. So let's push that one out again. Okay, and reload the rule set, fire up our character sheet. Perfect, only we can see there's at least a 1 pixel alignment issue, so we'll just adjust that. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. So that's where we're going to end up with this session. So in this session we've looked at where to get the Ruleset Wizard from. We've looked at how to set up the basics of your new project, mimicking the folder structure from Core RPG, mimicking the file names from Core RPG. I've created a bunch of art assets to use. Now you don't need to, you can use the ones from Core RPG just to get yourself started. Obviously I wanted to do something a little bit more with this one. And then we've created a number of fields here. So we've used some number fields and some labels. So the labels are informative only, and the number fields we will use as part of the record keeping and hopefully as part of the automation that we build into this set as it progresses. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you will work along with this as we go and keep track with what I'm doing and hopefully start producing things of your own and making them available for others to use on the forums. That'd be awesome. Thanks for watching.